True wireless stereo for under 50 bucks? Let's check these out. Dave Taylor here, and I'm looking at more true wireless stereo or TWS earbuds, headphones, audio gear. I don't know exactly what to call it. Different companies call it different things. But I'm looking at these. This is the MPOW M9 TWS earphones, earbuds, I don't know. But they look a lot like the Apple AirPods. It is a big, actually looking like all the electronics. There's an earbud, there's a piece that extends out that has the charging connectors, and it has a tiny microphone, and they fit in nice and easy and nice and comfortable. You put them in, you're good to go, and it automatically turned on when I put them in my ears because I previously paired it with my iPhone, and if I put them back, then it automatically turns off on my iPhone. So that's really great. Same behavior with Android. Now, one of the things that really differentiates these is that they work very well as individual earbuds. So if you don't want stereo, you can just use one. For example, I'll just put this one in, and now it's actually expecting stereo, but here we go. Let's see. So I can just use this for a phone call, for music, for listening to the audio track on a video or something. It's very distracting to have that going on. And then when this one's running out of battery, I can switch to the other one, or you can share with a friend where you have one in each person's ear. That can be a tiny bit problematic with a lot of devices because they expect to be really close, and if you then are pretty far apart and you're doing that 6-foot distance, then that might be problematic with it being connected. But for your individual use, these work great. So single and stereo mode. They have touch controls on the outside. It is fairly tricky to figure it out. Here is a cheat sheet with all the different touch controls. Do you understand this? I'm a little baffled by all of these. All I know is that you can tap to pause, tap to play. You can, I think, triple tap gets you to Siri or to Google Voice. And you can interact with your device, or you can just do all the controls on the device itself, or you can just stream and don't worry about it, right? So they're using Bluetooth 5.0, which is really good because that's much less of an issue with things like dropout or intermittent connections or the left and right not connecting properly. Bluetooth 5.0 is really designed for these wireless, true wireless stereo sort of earbuds. And let's see, take them out and you've got 5 hours of play off of batteries. Now that's dependent on the volume you listen to. You know, think about that. It makes sense because the drivers, everything's pretty much solid state except the drivers actually have to move to push the air to give you the sound, right? So if you listen to them super loud, it uses more energy and you get less battery life. If you listen to them relatively softly, then you're going to get more battery life out of them. But roughly 5 hours on a charge of listening, and then you drop them in the case. The case actually, it's 2 hours in the case from completely dead to completely full. Actually, I think it might be a little faster than that. I think that's the charge time for the case itself. But the case holds 5 extra charges. So I just put these in. That means I can charge them all the way back up when they're dying, all the way for 5 more times, which is 6 times 5 or 30 hours of listening or playback. That's pretty nice. Now, it's not 30 continuous hours. Okay. But if you go to the gym and you work out at the gym for an hour and then you put these back in the case and then the next day you're back at the gym, then every day you take them out, they're going to be fully charged and you got a whole week before you're going to have to worry about charging the base again. When you are ready to charge the base, it is USB-C, which is nice. I'm really happy to see companies moving to that because micro USB, where it's like, you know, wider on the bottom than on the top and you have the orientation, that's a bit of a nightmare. I really can't stand that connection. So I'm really happy to see companies moving away from that. USB-C for the win. And let's see, let's open the box. So it's kind of interesting because MPOW, I know them mostly for their batteries, but they have quite a line of audio gear, which is nice. So comes with instruction manual, comes with I am now a VIP member, and it comes with a 2-year warranty and a card to show that. And it comes with a warning card that says when you're charging, don't use more than 1 watt. It's really not designed for these like super industrial, super fast chargers. I actually charged it with a fast charger. Shh, don't tell anyone. Worked fine. But you know, if you want to really make sure that it's going to cover by warranty, then don't go for a super wattage charger. Some devices can handle it, and other devices can handle it to a certain point, and then it just generates heat, and that heat can be dangerous. So, in the box, the case, the earbuds, the USB-C to USB 3 mini charging cable, and 2 more sizes of ear tips. And I hope you understand how important it is when you get anything that goes in your ears for you to spend the time to test out different size ear tips to make sure that you get the right ones for your ear canal. It will make a world of difference. Put these in, get them the right size, and they are pretty noise isolating. They're not noise controlled, they're not ANC, but they can be noise isolating and give you really nice, rich bass. We'll get to the sound in just a minute. But you put the wrong size tips in, and it doesn't make a solid seal, you don't get the bass, and you're sort of left wondering, what did I do wrong? Everyone's saying these have great bass, but they have nothing. That's the size of the ear tips you're using. So please try different sizes. It's pretty darn easy to switch them, and it makes a lot of difference. Now, another cool thing, these are IPX7 water resistant, which means if you want to wear these while you go for a run in the rain, or you're super sweaty when you're at the gym, or you just accidentally drop them in a bowl of soup because you're like, you know, watching a movie while you're eating lunch, no problem. Now, in the soup case, you probably want to rinse them off. I'll leave that up to you. It might depend on the soup. But generally speaking, IPX7's pretty nice. These are going to be resistant to most environmental conditions. Now, the case is not IPX7, so it's just the earbuds. So the case, you know, whenever you're taking them in or out, you'll then want to put the case back in your pocket or your purse or, you know, I don't know, in your running shorts, whatever it is. But the earbuds are nice and solid, which leads us to 2 more questions. And then we're going to talk about the audio. So, first question is, how about latency? And I gotta say, that was the one area I found that they were a little weak. So I tried streaming TV, I tried Netflix, I tried a bunch of different video content. I was looking at some YouTube videos, and everything had a little bit of a delay. Not enough that you couldn't deal with it, but enough that I noticed. Now, a lot of people don't notice latency, but you know, these are definitely not low latency earbuds. So if that's something where you're going to use these to watch a lot of content, and that content is a talking head like this video, then you might not find this to be perfect for you, because that latency is going to mean that the audio is just shifted off a little bit from the actual motion of the person's mouth, which can be pretty disconcerting. Now, obviously with something like anime, totally doesn't matter because it's not all synchronized anyway, right? So it depends what you're going to listen to. And then the other question is, what about for phone calls? And I found that they actually worked surprisingly well for phone calls. Now, the only thing I did find is they didn't do much in terms of canceling environmental or ambient noise. So I used these for a phone call while I was doing some work, and people were like, what's all that background noise? It's really loud. But otherwise, they sounded really good. So as long as I was talking, and as long as I was talking in a relatively quiet environment, they were actually surprisingly good. And part of that is because if you look at the design, you know, the microphone isn't sitting in my ear. The microphone is down here at the bottom. So it actually gives you a little bit better audio quality, which is nice. Which leads us to audio quality. And you know what? These sound really nice. I was very impressed. My expectations were sort of medium given the price point of these, but they really deliver. They have really nice sound. However, I will say that when you turn the volume up pretty high, they get pretty muddy. And what I mean by that is it gets to be sort of this mishmash of sounds as opposed to being able to clearly hear there's the bass, there's the drums, there's the lead guitar, there's the vocalist. You know, instead of having that clarity of the music, it ends up being something where they're not really great for really loud listening. But then again, if you're listening really loud, it's probably not good for your ears anyway. So having it be somewhere between soft and medium volume seemed to deliver the best sound. And when I let my daughters both listen to these, they were pretty impressed. They were so impressed, they both immediately called dibs on them. So we'll have to work that out afterwards. But suffice to say, there's a lot to like about these. You know, they have really good for phone calls. The audio is really good. They'd be really clear for like an audiobook or podcasts or something. And for music, you do get a rich sound. You do get a nice bass. They, you know, say that they're bass heavy, and they deliver. They actually have a nice bass line. And I was listening to some music like Steely Dan Asia, one of my favorite tracks, and the title track from the album, and it's so good for headphones. There's so much detail. It's such a beautiful recording, and these made it sound really nice, and I could really just listen to one instrument or one melodic line or something and just really enjoy that. So there's a lot to like. Again, if I turned it too loud or if I wanted to watch a video with the latency issues, those are probably the weaker points of this, but there's a lot to like. So really the only thing left to talk about is the price. But before we get to the price, I'm going to ask if you can subscribe to my channel. Easy enough, right? Go ahead and click or tap on that little subscribe button on the corner, and then we will be connected forevermore. Actually, you can unsubscribe whenever you want. But I get lots of gear. I'm really honest with my reviews. I give you straightforward data. I don't really care about whether the vendor likes it because I'm doing this for you, the viewer. So subscribe. Really appreciate it. Now, these cool earbuds are the MPOW M9 TWS, or True Wireless Stereo Earbuds, and they are $48.99 at Amazon.com, which is not a bad price for these. And I think you will be pretty darn happy with them if this is what you're going to opt for. I say check it out, and with that, I'll catch you in my next video.